Hi, you guys. Welcome to the Mom Zoo. We're at Colette's house. I feel like I'm taking over your house because I'm in the middle. We are just going to have some fun today.
Yes. So much fun is going to be had.
Okay, ready?
I think you should leave that in. It's funny.
Okay. We're leaving this all in. You know why? Because we're being vulnerable. This is a V in sign language. Updates. Do you guys have anything new going on with your lives other than I can't find my words?
Well, I don't remember what week this is going up, but CVX Live.
Oh, that's coming up in
That's
March.
coming up. We're all going.
It's so
gonna be
cool
so
to have
fun.
such a fun event so close to us.
Yes,
I
I
love
agree.
that.
I'm happy that everyone's going because I went last year at the last minute and Logan was there, but it was just us and I had my kids by myself, and so I was just stressed out the whole
Really?
time. I was sweating and nervous, and but it was so much fun.
Yeah.
It's so cool to have it in Utah.
I've heard it's like a smaller VidCon.
Yeah.
It's like VidCon used to be 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
No offense, but that's like when it's better because you can have more quality, intimate like conversations rather than, hi, where are you from? And then
Quick
it's just like,
pictures, see you later.
You
Yeah.
have to rush people. So it'll be fun to, if you guys are going to CVX, we'd love to meet you. Yeah. Maybe we'll bring our camera crew to CVX and do some like Q&As with you guys. It'd be fun to bring guests on and like do a panel with them, and you guys can be on the Mom Zoo.
Yeah, and there are some really talented, amazing YouTubers flying in this year. Last year it was kind of smaller, but it's really, really expanded this year. There are some fun
Yay.
people coming.
Go Utah, Team Utah.
Yeah. And Easter. Easter
Yeah,
is this
Easter
month.
is that week.
I'm like not ready for it to be this month.
Have you already planned out your DIYs?
Yes, I have them all planned out. I just like have so many because it's not only Easter but also St. Patrick's Day all in 1 month. I can't do 2 holidays.
I did buy some headbands for Amigo for both holidays. You know the ones that wiggle?
Oh
That'd be
my
so cute on
gosh,
him, huh?
So cute.
My poor family. We haven't had a baby yet, so it's like, Amigo, you're it.
Here you go.
You're it till the baby comes. Do you guys update CVX? You're getting ready for that?
Yeah. I think the only thing that's going on is like Winston's so wild. We were just talking about it, like he's getting into his terrible twos and he's just started like throwing fits. And I'm not kidding, I love every second of it. It's so fun because you forget, like it's been such a long time, so it's hard not to laugh. I'm not saying that I don't ever get stressed out because sometimes I'm just like, I'm so tired, I need a
It's
nap.
about the timing. Like if you're at the grocery store checkout line, they're doing it, you're like, oh, not right now.
Right.
But at home, in the quiet of your home, you're like, that's funny, keep doing that.
Yeah, it's so cute, but I'm trying to like not let him get away with it anymore because I don't want that to become a thing.
He's 15.
Yeah.
Still throwing himself on the ground.
And we're like, you're so cute.
He
It's
never
been
did
such
get
a
over
long
that.
time.
Throwing.
So cute. It's hard when you have such a big space because I feel like I baby him more, and then the whole entire family babies him.
Yeah.
But it's fun, and he's fun.
But he is a baby, so it's like whatever, you know?
Yeah.
If he's 12 and he's still doing it, I'll be the one to be like, Kayli.
Listen, if
bring it down a
he's 4 and he's still doing it, then you need to be like, get it under control, Kayli. Stop. Hopefully I'll have another baby, and then
Yeah, he'll be throwing the
balance
fit.
things out.
Avi is like, Mom, are you pregnant? Like every day she wants me to be pregnant. And I'm like, I cannot even handle Daxton. Like he's
Like, give me
so
some
hard
time.
right now.
Speaking of throwing fits, it's hilarious. Jackson keeps marching out here with this determined look on his face. I'm like, that should be a meme for Monday mornings. Right. Just like, this is how I feel about you Monday.
He's so cute. You know what I've been loving is he wants to like sit on my lap and hug me lately. Like,
He's a sweetie.
this is so fun. Like at church, he climbed up on my lap and like let me hold him.
I love when because I feel like they go in a phase where it's like only mom.
Yeah.
But now he's starting to recognize the other important people in his life, like grandma and you guys, and it's just so cute.
Yeah, when we went bowling for for Dad's birthday, he was sitting on Grandma's lap, and I was like, oh, that's cute to see them interacting so much. That's awesome. Okay, updates. Okay, we'll get lost in that. Enough. Cut it off. Okay, we are going into our topic of the day, which Miss, you've prepared. I'm excited to hear.
I have a topic. I feel like we have talked about this before, but it's come up again because my kids are getting older. I'm kind of in this thing where, so you want to give your kids space. You want to give them their individuality and let them be able to make a name for themselves and make their own friends and do their own things. But where do you draw the line? Like if there's a friend that maybe they're hanging out with that you don't necessarily agree with the way they act, or it's like I'm trying to figure out, where do you like step in and be like, hey, maybe this isn't a good idea? Or do you just let them make the friendships, teach them how to be a good friend, and hope that they'll be a good influence on that friend? I don't want to be like
so
an
hard.
overly protective, like you can't be friends with so and so, but I do have my concerns with certain friends that they might be having.
First off, I don't think that's in your personality. You're not that way. You're very level-headed and understanding, so don't worry about that. And you're just really good with explaining things to your kids. But I think it depends upon the situation and severity of the age, which can be really tricky because Gavin is getting into that age where these kids might be getting into like the worldly like things, not to scare you, but like I didn't know, but I had friends in 7th grade who drank alcohol, and I was like, what? I didn't even, like, not that that's the world's worst thing, but to me that seems so young. But if your family doesn't, it's around, it doesn't, to them, right?
Right.
But like, I think that it depends on the age and like what about that friend you don't like.
Yeah.
And then learning how to distinguish between like, is this something that you let your kid learn from because it's not going to totally hurt them? Maybe it's like, so let's just say Avia has a very gossipy friend and you just feel like it's a negative example. Maybe point out the positive things that Avia does, like about Avia, I love that you don't gossip. I love that you're not that way. And maybe like she can see for herself, like sometimes like when bridges get burnt, you learn something. I just think it's hard because it's like, when do you know when's the proper time to step in of when it's a good time to let them learn from maybe a possible bridge being burnt, or when is it like going to be detrimental to them, and because I remember my mom had a really strong feeling. She's very intuitive about her feelings, and she had a very strong feeling about this girl I was hanging out with in high school. And I loved her. We had the best time. We would laugh so hard, and she everything was more fun with her, And we had the similar backgrounds, and so I'm like, Mom, throw the same. She believes in the same things we do. Like, what's your problem? She's like, I just have this feeling you shouldn't be friends with her. I don't think she's a good influence. And little by little, it was hard, but like my mom was consistent and put her foot down, and then she was just like, that's it, you're not going to be friends with her anymore. And now I'm so very, very grateful because I can see why she didn't want me, and our lives in high school definitely went different ways, and I'm very grateful that my mom stepped in. And it's hard. You might not get the appreciation that you want or like the comfort of them agreeing with you until later down the road. And I don't think I told my mom till I was in my 20s, like, you were right about her. I'm so glad.
Yeah.
But I think as a mom, like, we have these feelings for a reason. We have intuition for a reason. If you're feeling very strongly, then maybe approach that with them. Say, I don't even know why. I know in my heart, I'm your mom. I grew you. I love you enough to want the best for you, and I don't think that this is the best.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I've done that exact same thing with Braylee. Like, nobody loves you more than me, and I want you to have so many friends, because this is a hard time in their lives. Like, to go into junior high, because girls are mean. They're so mean. Junior high was the worst time in my life. I hated it. And I just told Braylee, like, it's good to stay close to Avia. Like, you guys are cousins, you love each other, you need to stay close together, and then build other friendships around that, because I think it's so important to have someone that loves you and cares about you.
Right. Yeah.
And I want them to make other friends too, to build those close friendships, but to always have each other.
It's a good backbone too, I think that we're lucky if we find one true, real good friend, because in everyone else's defense, we're all growing up and going through the same hardships and crazy twists and turns of life of figuring it out. And people are going to hurt you, and they might not, have the intentions of doing that, but that's just how growing pains are. But if you find one real person who's genuine, I think you should be considered lucky. You guys are my real friends, but I didn't have you in high school. My friend that I've had since 7th grade was Christina, and we didn't really necessarily have the same group of friends, but she was my backbone. Like, she was the one person I could go to that I knew would have my back, that wouldn't gossip, that wouldn't let out all my secrets. I didn't have hardly any, but
I always had Jessie, who was my cousin, and so I tell Braylee examples of things that happened to me. That's how I've dealt with a lot of things. Like, I always had Jessie. She's my best friend. We've always had each other. We always wanted the best for each other, and so I've given her that example. And also friends who maybe were gossiping about me or spreading rumors. I have given her examples in my life and said, like, maybe you have friends like this.
Yeah, look for them.
And be aware of that. And this is what ended
try
up
not to be that kind of a friend.
Right. And then, like, this is how I dealt with it, and these are the things that I learned, and this is the hurt that I felt. I'm not going to tell you not to be friends with this person, but this is what might come of it, and you need to be aware of that. Also, if someone is gossiping about someone else, they're gossiping about you.
Yeah.
Most likely. And just different circumstances that have happened, in my own life, and watching different things Braylee's went through with friends. That's what happens.
Yeah.
So I've just tried to lead by example. I just did a little lesson for some activity days girls, and this is something that you could do with your kids too, about gossiping. And we talked about this reverse gossiping game.
I love that.
Yeah, where instead of gossip, if someone comes to you gossiping about something, to put something positive out there.
Right.
So if Colette came to me and said, Carlie's lipstick's purple, and
She looks like a tacky
I don't know if I
monster.
like purple, I would say, really? Well, I loved her eyeshadow. And then Colette would say, I loved her eyeshadow too. And then when I see Carlie, I would say, you know what? Colette was telling me how much she loves your eyeshadow.
Oh, I like that. Like, not to be the one to relay the gossip.
And then you make sure to go to that other person and tell them the positive thing that the other person said about them.
Well, Carlie said that she loved
You
your
might
nails.
have put it in their mouth, but they agreed, and then you tell that person that they said.
Yeah.
Like,
So be the force of change. Like, be the one to, if you're in gossip, don't be afraid to, like, you know what, you guys, I always told Cooper, I'm like, if people are talking bad about you or somebody else, just don't be afraid to say, you know what, they're not here. They don't have a right, like, they don't have the chance to defend themselves. Let's not talk about them. Because that's, if somebody did that for you, think how good it would make you feel. And if you can be that force of change, I think the people around you will feel dumb that they gossiped. You've always had those like great person around you. It's like, we shouldn't do that. You're like, oh right, that was really bad. Sorry. I had to give a talk in church on Sunday, and then like the one section reminded me of it. I was comparing it to sometimes we're asked to do things, have faith in things, or our parents, moms, dads want things for us that we can't necessarily see over the hill. And I was comparing it to when Shay and I were training for the marathon, and we were running like hills to get ready, because running a marathon flat is one thing, but when you hill train, you really build those endurance muscles up, and it really prepares you. And I remember one particular Saturday we were running, and we were on our like 18th mile, and it was like uphill, and I was like, freaking kidding me, I cannot go any longer. And so I was like, you know what, like, I'm just gonna go halfway up the hill. And then I just kept going, and at the top, it was such a feeling of relief, because everything I could see from there was downhill and flat. And I think that that's true in life with trials and problems. Like, sometimes we can't see over a hill. We don't know what's on the other side, what's promised to us. But I think that if we can endure and get to that spot, we can finally get that relief of, this is why my mom wanted me to not do that or be friends with that person. And sometimes you just have to be vulnerable with your kids and be like, it comes from a place of love and trusting me. Trust me as your mother to know that I'm not gonna want bad things for you. I only want the good things. And maybe you may not see over this hill right now, but eventually you will. And you'll be grateful that you didn't have to, go through that.
Yeah.
have you noticed a difference with Gavin and his friends and like Avia, like boys and girls? Have you noticed a difference between the two?
Yeah, I definitely have. And I feel like maybe boys get into those friendships that maybe are hard or difficult or challenging maybe a little bit later. I mean, right now he has a group of friends that he just loves, and it's so funny to watch it. Because they're like, anyways, they're the ones that do their hair. They're like the cool guys. But yeah, I have seen a difference, and I don't know if that's just girls and boys, and girls just, they feel more, and they read into things more maybe, and boys are just like, what's the big deal? But yeah, I have noticed a difference.
Well, and I think like right now their hormones are changing, and I think that's why junior high is so hard, because hormones are changing and they don't understand them. And that's what I've been trying to explain to Braylee. Like, you might say things, other people might say things because your hormones are going crazy and you don't even understand like what's happening, and things just come out of your mouth, and it's so important to try to get that under control.
Yeah, but you're doing a good job. You're doing a really good job. You have great kids, but it is a good thing to...
It's interesting with kids because you don't have a manual. Like, you haven't done it before.
And it's not like
So
one of these
go.
things is not like the other. Like, they're all so different, and times are changing. And I hate being like, well, when I was in high school, because I think Cooper probably thinks I'm ancient, but it doesn't really feel like it was 10 years ago for me. But still, 10 years is a lot.
It is really different. Our kids are growing up in a different world. It was funny because Shay and I were talking about something that he did in high school, and he's like, yeah, and my friend called so-and-so on his cell phone. I'm like, he had a cell phone? He's like, yeah, it was a really old one. It was really big, and it was his dad's. And it was funny because like back then it was like we didn't have cell phones, so that was weird to me that his friend had a cell phone.
Oh my gosh, how do we communicate?
But like our kids, like they all have cell phones.
Yeah. I was just talking to my friend who has a daughter who's a teenager, and there are so many different apps and terrible ways of bullying kids now. And it made me terrified.
That's why I told Cooper, I'm like, you don't need a phone until you're like emotionally mature enough to understand. There's a lot that goes into cell phones, and I'm like, part of me that knows that it's like a safety thing for some parents, and you got to do what's best for you. But I'm like, we have a pretty good system right now. Hopefully that's working.
Yeah, I think it's important for parents to check your phone, not only for what they might be sending, which I think is important. We forget to check what they might be sending on all of these different social media apps and different things and what's coming in.
And parents, don't forget, there's terms of service. Your kids shouldn't be on certain apps and websites if they're not 13, because that's like legally not.
Yeah.
That's breaking the law.
It's breaking the law.
Anyways, that was a really good topic.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Did you have anything else that you wanted to?
No, I'm just.
Yeah. Should we see what Angel has to say?
Angel, this is I know we're gonna get fed right now. You tell us, girl. What do you think?
What's up, ladies? All right, so I'm going to say two things. First, I'm going to address Colette's topic. I feel like it's a very thin line that you have to tread when dealing with your children and their friends. We all have our perception of our children, and we all hope that they're angels. You know, I hope that my kids are always well behaved, but I know sometimes they're not. And when we look at their friends, it's sometimes really easy for us to see the not so good qualities in them. And sometimes they might be going through something that they are, you know, rebelling or misbehaving. I feel like instead of pushing your child away from that friend, you kind of need to take that friend under your wing and possibly teach them some of the things that you feel like they're missing in their life when it becomes to behavior, when it becomes to manners. I'm not saying discipline them or become a new parent to them, but sometimes they just need a little guidance. And you never know what this child is going to blossom into becoming, because we hope that all of our children, like I said, do the right things and behave in a certain manner when they're not around us. But sometimes it's our child that's the misbehavior, that's the rebellious person. And you wouldn't want another parent to kind of write off your child if they didn't approve of their behavior. So I feel like the best way to approach it is, if there's a kid that your child is kind of like chummed up to that you're not really feeling, I would begin to take that kid underneath your wing. Even if you don't have a change in their life, if the change doesn't happen because you're involved, at least you're keeping a closer eye on them, and you're keeping a closer eye on their relationship and making sure your child is not picking up too many bad habits from that relationship. So that's my advice on that one. But I want to kick a question to you ladies. Me and my husband started a podcast. It was very much so inspired by Colette and Shay's podcast, When the Kids Go to Sleep. And me and my husband have been wanting to do something together, work together in some form or fashion. So we started a podcast called Is This Going to Cause an Argument? And a topic that we're going to do in one of our future podcasts is, what would you tell your 15-year-old self now that you're whatever age that you are? So, for instance, I would tell the 15-year-old version of me, don't always be the most responsible person in the room. I felt so much pressure that I put on myself to always do things right, to always be the leader, to always be the example. I just didn't want to disappoint people, including myself, but I didn't want to disappoint my mom or my teachers, so I always wanted to do everything right, and I took that very seriously, and I feel like I missed out on some fun. Now, I'm not saying what I did was the worst thing ever, because I think it's great to be a responsible person, but I don't know why I felt the need to put that all on my shoulders, as if me doing right or wrong was going to change the trajectory of the world. So I would tell my 15-year-old self, have some fun. You don't always have to be the do-gooder, the get every answer right, the rule follower. I mean, I followed rules to a T. So I think I could have had a little more fun, because I have friends that are my age that are still not the rule followers. They're like, nah, don't worry about it. And I wish I would have let go of some of that. Maybe I would have been a little, I don't think I had a lot of stress, but I probably would really experience what it means to be stressless. I also would probably tell the 15-year-old version of myself to not eat so many carbs. The pasta and the bread is eventually going to catch up with my body, and I need to slow down. All right, ladies. So Colette, Kayli, Carlie, what would you tell the 15-year-old version of yourself? All right, ladies, as always, it's great work with you all. Great seeing you all, and I'll talk to y'all later.
Thank you, Angel. I always love your insights, and I think your topic flowed really nicely with it. So let's see. First of all, love yourself. And I know it's so hard to say to your 15, because you're still discovering yourself.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But I think be forgiving of yourself, because you're going to make mistakes. You're going to feel not good enough. You're going to feel all those feelings, because that's natural. But ultimately, love yourself and forgive yourself.
15. I would say world peace and bunnies for everyone.
Bunnies!
15, I mean, this sounds stupid, but maybe because my mom worked in the school district for so long, she saw every angle of what could happen, good and bad. So I feel like I was coached pretty well. Like I had a very enjoyable junior high and high school experience. That doesn't go to say that I didn't have trials or hard times.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that I look back on now, I would have taken like extracurricular more seriously and about how those can apply to real life circumstances now. Like maybe gotten into photography and like the arts a little bit more and just kind of like made my world a little more well-rounded just because there's so much out there now that I'm interested in, but that's hard because it's like, how do you know when you're 15 years old, you know? Right. But I think I would suggest trying more things, and even if you don't love it, it's good to go through the experience. Like try chess club, try guitar, try a bunch of different things. You're young, you have the time, like challenge yourself. Not only will it keep you out of trouble, but it's good to have all those different loops on your belt of knowledge. And I think I wish I would have pushed myself a little more academically. I think that sometimes I get cut myself short, but I graduated 4.0.
I was gonna say, weren't you a 4.0 student?
I was gonna say.
You would find that hard to believe, but I think I could have tried harder. You know, like I didn't realize that there was more than that. Like there was college classes I could have taken, and I think that it's free education, and that's such a blessing. I was telling Cooper about that the other day. True. I'm like, it's awesome that we live in America. Not that I agree with our educational system, because I think there could be a lot more pumped into that. But I think that having free education is an incredible blessing.
Yes.
And not taking for granted with that, but.
And taking a foreign language.
Yes.
Right.
I started taking sign language. I don't even know if that's foreign, but challenging yourself like that. I think when I was 15, I'm like, oh, that's too hard. I don't want to do that. But like pushing myself a little bit more, But other than that, like I really, what happened in college, I don't know. But in high school, I was such a good kid. Like I kind of, what Angel, she'll talk about this later, but she said she was very apt to follow rules and being afraid to let anybody down. I was very much a people pleaser, and I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings or like let my parents down. And I think sometimes that's a great thing because you are respectful and you have boundaries, but it's also hard because you need to have those growing experiences where you're like, I snuck out and toilet papered or whatever. I don't know. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I was too afraid to do that. I was like, no, I should not do that. But now I'm like, no. And my husband tells me stories of things he did, and I'm like, what? I can't even say it. I don't even know if he could get in trouble for him now, but you guys would be surprised.
That's so funny.
I know, because he looks so innocent.
Yeah, he does. It's like, those eyes. That's
don't let him
got away
fool
with
you.
everything.
He tells me stories and I'm like,
that's so funny.
Yeah, you wild thing, Jackson.
That's fun. It's interesting to think back to 15 because I was like dating Casey and I was like sure that I was going to marry him.
I should have been like, run. He's not ready for you.
But I don't think I would have changed anything really. I mean, I love what you said, like love yourself more. And I started struggling with an eating disorder, like really, really bad at the age of 15. And I wish I would have been able to just tell myself it will be okay. Like it's going to be okay. I don't regret going through that because I feel like I'm trying to help people now, and I feel like it has made me who I am. So I'm grateful for that, and I wouldn't change anything that I did, I don't think.
Yeah. That's a good perspective, though. It's like those are learning years.
Yeah.
They are really learning years, and you are going to make choices that maybe you think, maybe I shouldn't have done that, but maybe it's okay.
Yeah. And I feel like I had a good balance. Like I did good enough in school so that I could cheer because I knew I wanted to do hair. Like that was such a huge passion of mine that I was like, I'm going to try my hardest to learn what I have to learn to stay on the cheer team, and then I'm going to go to beauty school. So I probably would like to, if I change anything, just like do a little better in school and take that more serious so that I can help my kids with their homework.
Yeah.
I wish that I knew what was happening on their paper. I don't.
Cooper will ask me questions. I'm like, I know the answer. Dear Google, what is a double synonym? Oh, yeah, I remember now.
I've never seen that symbol, and if I did, I erased it from my brain.
Poor Gavin. I know, and Avia actually gets tutored by Gavin because he's the only one that knows how to do any math in this house.
It's so hard. So I feel like as far as like education and school, like I'm happy with that, whatever. I should have tried harder. But I feel like I had a good balance of like sneaking around. Like I used to sneak around a lot with Casey.
You also want to play that with this
sneak
one.
Around.
I did. Well, I don't know. I'm like at such a weird place right now with my kids being older, or getting older. Because I'm like, I had so much fun sneaking around. It was such a fun time.
I was terrified of Mary Butler.
I wasn't like causing trouble, and I wasn't doing anything too terrible. It was so much fun. I got caught every single time. I'm not kidding. Every single time. Which was fun too. Like it's just all fun. And are
you like dying right now over this? I'm like,
I would think I was so sneaky. So I had this little green Sunfire, and Casey's friend had a green car that looked the same. So I pulled my car into the driveway or into our garage, and then he parked in the driveway because I was like, the people watching my house will just think it's my car.
She was a smart.
And that worked, but then I ended up getting caught. I always got caught. I had so much fun. So then I think about my kids like sneaking around. I'm like, I don't want them to, but I kind of do. Like, what a fun time in your life.
Cooper, I don't
to be
want
a little more
Yeah.
wild. But then also, like you were saying, like it's such a different world. Like they
Yeah.
could be getting into way more trouble than I was
That's
getting
the thing,
into.
like back then, like joking around about toilet papering, but really like that's what we did. Or like, I know this is not awesome and it could be awful, but like people water ballooned cars or like egging. And I know that's like can be damaging, but you hear about kids like going, getting drunk and taking these drugs. I'm like, yeah, go egging. Like if you have the option of ecstasy and egging, like.
Right. And there were no drugs involved in my sneaking around or anything like that. But it was just fun. I don't know.
I think you hit the nail on the head though. Like, look at us. We all went through things that maybe we wish we would have changed, but look at, we're all doing okay and we're here. And that's like I think it's fun to think what I would have told myself at 15, only because we know that maybe there's people who are 15 who are watching this. And if you relate to any of us, maybe you can hopefully learn from these things and become better. But I think it's always toxic to look back and be like, gosh, if I would have changed this,
Yeah.
I would have done that. Because you can't change any of it. All you can do, like you said, is learn from it and be excited for, you know, what it taught you and who you are and developed you into the person that you are. And Jackson and I talk about that all the time. He's like, you know, if you wouldn't have gone through the things you've gone through or I have gone through, he's like, think how that would have changed our paths, because eventually they crossed. And if you would have made one wrong turn, maybe our paths would have never crossed.
Yeah, that's very true.
So it's like,
Do you ever like think or pray like, I wish I could just go back?
yeah.
Like this is weird that I think this sometimes. But I always think, what if you do and you always do the same exact thing over and over again?
Yeah.
Because most likely you will.
You probably would, yeah.
So who knows how many times you've repeated the same story, the same part of
Yeah.
your life, and you're going to do the same things because
Yeah.
exactly like you said, it led you to where you need to be.
So maybe it is more about just love yourself and give yourself more credit.
Be
you
forgiving.
know?
Right.
Yeah. Interesting.
Well, I love it.
To be 15 again.
Yeah.
I know Carlie said like maybe we would just like appreciate our bodies and feel okay putting a swimming suit on and going swimming without a cover up and shorts and everything.
I told them, I'm like, I'd wear my swimming suit to school. I wouldn't even care. I'd be like, yeah, I'm 15. This is cool. No stretch marks. And if I did have some on my legs when I was 15.
Yeah.
My mom told me it's from doing too many toe touches, jumps. I was like,
Really?
oh, and that made sense to
think
me
it
then.
was?
No, it's from growing, but it's hilarious. She's like, it's
no.
because you're very flexible. I'm like, oh, that's why.
Okay. Yes, I am.
So, you guys, that was a fun episode.
That was fun.
I feel so fulfilled. You guys, we want to hear from you though. Is there anything that you guys did at 15 that maybe you wish you wouldn't have, or that you were grateful you did? And if you guys are going through any experiences with friends, we want to hear about them. Like Colette said, if you're kind of on that verge of should I be friends with them, should I not? Leave it down in the comments below. We'll be hanging out and responding back with you guys. Thank you guys for being here. And Angel, you're always so full of wisdom and humor. That's what I love about you, Angel. You're hilarious. So thanks for watching The Mom Zoo. We will see you guys next time with more topics. And remember, keep the combo going. Tweet us. Use hashtag this guy, TMV Talk. And we'll see you guys next time.
All right.
Bye.